Well, welcome back. Will Meyer, the movie guy, is here to talk about his top picks at the box office. And we're going to start off with The Dark Tower.
The Dark Tower, yeah.
Tell me about this.
This is a movie that's about a little boy who gets transported to a different world where he's caught in this battle between a heroic gunslinger played by Idris Elba and this evil sorcerer played by Matthew McConaughey. So this is based on a series of beloved Stephen King novels. When I say beloved, Leslie, I mean it. This is, for Stephen King fans, this is the holy grail for them. And they've been waiting for a movie for over 10 years. That's when they first announced this. And, you know, we've certainly had a lot of good Stephen King adaptations, you know, Carrie, The Shining, Shawshank Redemption, but this is sadly not one of them. This is a movie, there's just not much that's impressive or interesting about it, which is sad considering it's based on 5,000 pages of, you know, really rich, fascinating material. But I think kind of in an effort to whittle it down to a 90-minute movie, they kind of lost the dimension, the personality, I think, of the material. So watching this film, I just thought it was very bland and conventional. The story, the characters, the ideas, you know, it's really so simplified, in fact, that I think a 7-year-old could follow this movie and digest it. And in hindsight, it almost seems like that's who this movie was made for, which I don't know if that was the intention, because the books are so dark. And, you know, this movie reminded me of Divergent, The Maze Runner, these kind of knockoff Hunger Games sort of young adult movies. But that's not to say that this movie is especially bad. This film has like an 18% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, which is terrible. I don't think it's that bad. I think it's just fine. I think it's a passable 90 minutes. Kids may enjoy it. Adults are going to think it's just fine. So I say 2 out of 4 stars.
What kind of age do you think could be appropriate to go see?
I mean,
it does have a child actor.
It's PG-13, I think. So I honestly think it's not bad. I'd say in that 7 to 13 range. I think that's kind of the sweet spot. So
you kind of related to what you said, Maze Runner and Divergent. Do you think maybe a kid might enjoy it more?
I think there were kids actually in the theater, and they seem to be enjoying it. But I think once they get a little older, they're going to be like, yeah, this really
wasn't as good.
Yeah.
All right, on to the next one. We have Detroit.
Yeah, this is a docudrama from director Catherine Bigelow and screenwriter Mark Bold. Together they brought us Oscar-winning films like Zero Dark 30 and The Hurt Locker. Here they bring to the screen this true tale of the 1967 Detroit riots, specifically the Algiers Motel incident, where overnight these 3 white Detroit police officers tortured these 12 young teenagers, mostly African-American men. So last month was the 50-year anniversary of this event, and the movie spends most of the time focusing on that torturous Algiers Motel incident, which, you know, this is a docudrama, but you could almost call it a horror film just because it's so brutally intense and uncomfortable at times. Really, you almost want to just scream out, make it stop at times. But that tells you how effective it is at really putting you in these characters' shoes and letting you feel their pain, their fear, their humiliation. The movie is also really good at showing the aftermath, at showing how an event like this will shape you for the rest of your life. Some of these kids may never even recover. The movie's not that great at complexity. I felt like I didn't really get to know these characters. I wanted to know what made them tick. For instance, John Boyega, whom you've seen just a second ago right there, you know, he is really sort of complicit in all this, and it doesn't really get into that. Some missed opportunities there, but this movie overall does a lot of things really well. This is the director in her sweet spot, taking a true story and making it into realistic and gripping drama. So this is 2.5 hours long. It's a long movie, but I was glued to the screen for every second. So I would still strongly recommend it. I'd say 3 out of 4 stars.
And what was this one rated?
This is R, definitely an R rating.
Okay. And our last one, a ghost story, but not really a ghost story.
Yeah, this is an indie drama starring Casey Affleck. He plays a recently deceased ghost who returns home to reconnect with his grieving wife, who's played by Rooney Mara. This is from David Lowery, who brought us Ain't Them Body Saints and Pete's Dragon last year. This is a sad and strange existential adventure. Casey Affleck wanders throughout time and space searching for meaning and for answers. This is a movie that I would call meditative, though some might call it slow. This is a film that is visual storytelling. In this movie, there's a now famous 9-minute take where Rooney Mara eats an entire pie. So that kind of tells you what you're in for with this movie. But whether you love it or hate it, I think you're going to have a hard time denying that this movie is really unique. Everything from the narrative structure, the visuals, the tone, the pacing. It's a really interesting movie about grief, memory, time, and the importance of letting go in order to move on. Is it a great movie? A lot of critics would say so. This is one of the most critically acclaimed movies of the year. I'm not entirely sure yet. It didn't move me emotionally, but it's the kind of movie that I really want to go back and see again so I can see where I fully stand on it. I can tell you, I'm sure that I really do like it a good bit, though, so I'm easily confident in 3 out of 4 stars. It's one of those movies, though, I could see again and I might like it even more. So.
And it's interesting, it was shot, I was watching it there on our TV screens in that kind of 4:6 frame.
Yeah, it looks really just old-fashioned.
Really different, the film look. Well, thanks. If you want to get some more reviews, you can check out Will's Facebook page. It's facebook.com/Will Meyer, the movie guy.